This
chat. You don't have to
conference will
speak.
now be recorded.
So at the bottom of your GoToMeeting control panel on the right side of your screen, you see a button called as chat. So in the chat, you have to only type whatever you want to say. Please do not put on the microphone. We will start the session now. So this is the Club Coach Training 1 for the year 2019-20. And this is going to be about 45 minutes to 1 hour long. So I hope you have prepared yourself for that session. Thank you very much for being here and being part of this session with me. As of this time, it is about 7:05 p.m. in Muscat, Oman. So we should finish at about 8 p.m. Oman time. My request again, if you do not know how to use the microphone, please find somebody who can do that for you, because we are still getting a lot of noise from a couple of microphones which are on. Could you please quickly look at that and switch them off while we continue the discussion from here? So let me first ask you that we will go over a presentation which should be about 30 minutes in duration. And then I will open up the session for some question and answers. We have with us some of the senior people also on this call. So along with me, anybody else who would want to jump in and give a suggestion or an answer is most welcome. So this is the session today is about, as we said, coaching. Now, if you look at these three pictures here,
this micro.
If you look at these pictures here, what you see is.
Excuse me, can we have some lady is we are able to hear her home chat, home voice? Can we have everyone switch off the microphone, please?
Deepa Uma Shankar, I think it is your voice which is coming in. You need to either switch off the microphone, or you will have to log out because it is disturbing us. Thank you. So to continue, this is the first slide that I'm showing. What is common among all of them? If you look at all these people, they are successful people. I'm sure most of the people from the Asian subcontinent will know the picture on the left, which is Sachin Tendulkar, and then everybody knows Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Now, when I ask this question to many people, they do not connect what is common among all of them. And then the next slide becomes the aha slide, because the common thing among all of them is that they all had coaches. And the ultimate coach, Campbell, actually trained two of these people, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. What we mean to understand by this slide here is that coaches are not only for weak people or weak clubs. Coaches can be for anybody. And in fact, the most successful people use coaches to become even more successful in their life. One of the most successful coaches, business coach globally that I have had some opportunity to work with, called Marshall Goldsmith, once gave me a very beautiful quote, and now there is a book on that. It says, "What got you here won't get you there." What does it mean? What it means is that things change. Suppose you are in a job and you came through an interview process to be part of the job. And as you come to the job, you are hired because of certain skill sets and certain behavioral competencies that you have, and you got a very nice job. But as you continue to be in that job and you are looking for growth or moving forward, the same skill set and competencies don't get you there. You need to gear up for something different. And that's what it means by what got you here won't get you there. Jordan Smith, I think you need to put your microphone on silent, please. All right. So this is what this means here is that Once again, I'm requesting everybody, please check if your microphone is on speaker, please put it on the mute mode. Thank you. So what got you here won't get you there also applies to clubs that we are working with, because when they start with a lot of enthusiasm, they start with mentors, sponsors, but as they grow over the years, something changes for them, and then they find themselves in a situation where they are right now. And that's where we come in to help them to get where they want to go. So what is coaching? If you look at coaching as a subject, as a model, coaching is about being a catalyst. Coaching is about being a positive change in a way that is appropriate. And coaching is helping them to be very best that they can be. Now, if you look at some of the coaches that you might have worked with in your life, or some of the coaches that you know of, you will see that the qualities most of them have are common. One of the good qualities the coaches have is of building rapport with their clients, building rapport with the people they work with. Another very important quality that a coach should have is listening quality. Most of us are more used to speaking rather than listening, but coaching shifts everything. In coaching, we observe and we listen much more than we speak. Coaching is about an orientation of service. It is where I come in as a true service champion and serve the organization that I have been assigned to as a coach. Coaching also is about being a role model, practicing what you preach. An absolute environment of trust and faith, because the client or the club that you're going to work with will speak to you and discuss with you many things in confidence. So these are some of the qualities, and I'm sure that as you are becoming a club coach now, or you already are a club coach, you can relate to most of them, that you have them with you and you are already practicing them. And if you do not have them, my suggestion is quickly imbibe them and build up the skill sets or habits of building rapport, of deep listening, service orientation, practicing what you preach, and creating an environment of trust and faith. These are the fundamentals and basics before you even do anything else. Another very critical thing for us to understand is the difference between coaching and mentoring. We use both the terms interchangeably many a times, and which is not right. In clubs, we have both mentors as well as coaches. There can be mentors for the club, and there can be mentors for the club members. There can be coaches for the club, and there can be coaches for the club members. And interestingly, now in the pathways, somewhere in level 2, you will find that there is a project dedicated towards mentoring. And if you have done that project, you would have seen a video where they have very clearly distinguished between coaching and mentoring as two skills. So how does the two differ? Because you are getting into a coaching assignment and not a mentoring assignment. The coaching and mentoring differs on two sides. This screen here will tell you the basic difference. Coaching is about skill competency development, and mentoring is about personal development. Coaching is short term and mentoring is long term. So suppose you are coaching a member in the club. Maybe you will be coaching him only for one particular speech that he has to do. And maybe you will be working with it only on improving his vocal variety or body language. But if you are his mentor, then you will be working with him for a very long period. And you will be working not only for one speech or one area, you will be working him how as a Toastmaster he can benefit from the whole program. And that's the difference you should get, that as a coach for a club, your assignment is short term and you are not there to develop the personality, but rather you are there to develop the skills and competencies of the club executive and the club members so that they can achieve their goal that they are not able to achieve on their own. And I think this is critical for all of us to understand. Having said that, before moving into the do's and don'ts and the process of coaching, couple of quick inspirational quotes, I might say. So, coaching, behind every fearless player is a fearless coach who refused to let them be anything but the best that they can be. Dear coaches, coaching requires three characteristics, and I, in short, call them CPC. The first C stands for commitment, the second for persistence, and third C for courage. You have to be brave because you are getting into an area where you are likely to face failures, you are likely to face rejections, you are likely to face scenarios which you have not handled before. And thus, your commitment and your persistence is the only three qualities which will take you through this. So get ready and let's get jumped into the coaching process, understanding how to do it and what to do. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying by now. And we are now 27 people on this call. And thank you very much, all of you, for being here. The next few slides that you are going to see are more towards building your skill sets as a coach. While I will share this presentation with you definitely at some point, but I also suggest to you that you might want to take notes as we speak, because unless you are writing down what I'm saying, quite a possible that things might go out of your knowledge. So coming into coaching process, there are 6 key coaching steps that every coach should take. And in the order, they are like this. The first one, and I'm going to, in the next few slides, cover all of them by one, but quickly going over the list of the coaching process, we start with having an agreement and ground rules. We agree on the desired outcome of the whole engagement. We work towards making a connection. We check the status, and then we move into goals and smart action plans. And then we come out and recognize and celebrate what we have achieved. Now let's go over these one by one and get into understanding where we are. The first thing in a coaching process is having an agreement and establishing the ground rules. Now, what do I mean by this is you are being assigned as a coach for a certain period of time. Let's say you are starting now, which is November, and you have to complete your assignment by June 2020. So you have around 8 months, and this 8 months is called as the engagement period. So it is good that in your initial days, you set up the rules of engagement with the club. Now, what will you set up with them? You can set up with them the ethics of coaches. You can set up with them the standards of behavior that they can expect from you and what you expect from them. Because coaching is not a one-way process. You cannot coach them without the club officers, members being willing to get coached. There are some clubs and members who will not want to get coached, and in that scenario, I recommend that you should not coach them. Coaching can only happen with the consent and the willingness of the client. So the CPC I said, competence, commitment, persistence, and courage is also required on the part of the club also. If you do not have the persistence or the commitment to get coached, then you cannot coach them. Let's be very transparent about this first part. So set up the standards of behavior, discuss this with them in the initial meetings. What will be the communication channel between you and the club? Who is going to be the one contact person or two contact persons between you and the club? Will you work on emails? Will you work on WhatsApp? Will you be part of the various WhatsApp groups that the club might have, or will you don't want to be put into the WhatsApp groups? Set up these communication channels. Also set up the frequency of your visits and your likelihood to attend their meetings. whether they are okay with you to attend their execom meetings. It is strongly recommended that you should attend the execom meetings, but set it up early enough so that they do not find it as somebody who is interfering in their work without their permission. Another critical area is that you both, the club and the coach, should have clear agreement on confidentiality and sharing of information. What this means is that as a coach, you will be required to discuss the club's performance with the area director and the district leaders. The club should know that, and there should be an agreement between you. When I say the word agreement, I'm not asking for a paper to be signed, it is just a verbal discussion perhaps. And so the sharing of information, what can be shared, what should not be shared, should also be discussed upfront while establishing the ground rules. Another thing to be agreed is the completion of the coaching engagement. And in case of any misunderstanding, or the club does not want the coach to continue, or the coach does not want to continue the coaching engagement, how will the coaching engagement be terminated? These are a few of things, and you can add more to that or reduce from this list. Again, these are the standard coaching practices around the world, that whenever we start a new coaching agreement, we set up the ground rules for that. The next thing is the desired outcome. Desired outcome of the whole coaching engagement is two things. It is the membership growth, and it is a club achieving distinguished club points. Before you start the working, the club and you should have an agreement on this also. I am here as a club coach to help you in these two domains. All other domains where you will work will be actions which will lead towards these desired outcomes. In fact, I would suggest that you can go one step further on this. And every time you have a meeting with the club execom, you can also set up the desired outcome of the day. So today as a coach, when I work with you, what are we looking at as the outcome? Maybe today we are looking at as an outcome that we can create a membership building campaign. So that's the desired outcome of the day. Setting up the desired outcome helps you to stay focused, and you do not get distracted by doing too many things at the same time. Having set up the ground rules, having set up the engagement rules, and having set up the desired outcome, it's time to now start working on your coaching assignment. The first few things, as I said in my initial slides, was build the rapport and listen carefully. So in the next couple of slides, you will see that you need to make a connection with the coach. This is the area, this is the place where the rapport building starts to happen. And the club accepts you as somebody who's their well-wisher, somebody who is respectable. And respect comes not only by the designation, respect comes by knowledge and by behavior. If you want respect, give respect. Gain their trust, gain their love, gain their ability to be able to come and confide in you and not hide away from you. And wherever you find that there are areas, there is a very beautiful tool called as Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide. You can download it from TMI portal. And this is a list of about 20 or so action areas where whenever you find some gaps, you can use it to find the solutions for that. So building the rapport, how are you, where are you, what can I help you with, what happened, where did it happen, what's my experience. Come up and do perhaps one evaluation sometimes, come up and do some education session. So create that environment that there is a connection between you and the club. The next thing that you should do is a status check. Now, status check is perhaps one of those activities which should be done very carefully. So what you need to do is practice active listening in these sessions. I recommend that you should attend at least 2 club meetings continuously before arriving at any solution. Observe what is happening in the meeting. And when I say observe, not just observe the way people are giving speeches or giving evaluations, observe the moments of truth. As club coach, you should be very well versed with the moments of truth. If you are not, please download the material from Toastmasters International. Moments of truth is the standards of club, and it gives you the areas where a club can become a quality club. Observe for those things from your eyes, from your ears, from your senses. Look at everything, right from the venue to the way people are talking to each other. Look at the dynamics between the members and the VP education. Is there any area where people are not comfortable talking to each other? Mohammed Shawa, you have to please switch off your microphone. Thank you. Also conduct a SWOT analysis. I'm sure everybody understands SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threat. And if appropriate, and if you feel that the club execom are willing to work with you, you facilitate a discussion of strengths and challenges. Ravi Shankara, please switch off your microphone. So this is the status check time where you can understand what's happening in the club. You get the feel of the club, and you meet key stakeholders, which are
ما
like
عندي meeting online خبطت امبارح
Salim. Please switch off your
هذا مترشح
microphone. Salim, please switch off your microphone. Please put it on the mute. You can also meet the key stakeholders and get their feedback. Now, who can be these key stakeholders? These key stakeholders can be the area directors, they can be the past officers of the club, they can be some members who used to be very active earlier and then they left the club. All these different feedbacks will help you to make opinions and your understanding of the club's strengths, challenges. Once you have understood all this and you have had discussions with the execom, this is the time when we start to make what we call as the goals or solutions. Now, when we are in the solutions or goal stage, make sure that your goals are SMART goals. I'm sure some of you would have heard this acronym before. Each alphabet in the SMART stands for one particular domain of goaling. The first one is specific. Second is measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So when I set up a goal, my goal should come true on all these 5 parameters. Otherwise, it's just a wish list and it is not a SMART goal. We all want to do things very well, but as we are working towards achieving actionable areas, smartness in setting up the goals and action plans will be very, very critical. The next thing, once we set up the SMART goals, is to test our goals. So let me ask you, and I'm sure you don't have to reply, but please answer in the chat and let me see where it comes from. So you see at the bottom of your GoToMeeting control panel on the right side, there is a chat box where you can type in your messages. So I'm going to show you one of these, my slides now, and I will ask you to chat in that. Between the two of these, which one is a SMART goal? The one on the left or the one on the right? Just read them. The left one says, we will work hard and invite guests and get many members. The right one says, We will run 2 membership campaigns in December 2019 and February 2020. They are thereby inviting 50 guests in each campaign and converting 5 guests to members by 31st December and 5 more by February 2020. So I can see some of you have already quickly put the chat in there, clearly agreeing with me that the one in the green is more smart because it is specific. It is not as a wish list on the left side. Now, setting smart goal is one thing, but converting the smart goal into smart action is the skill that a coach comes up with. So if this was the goal for your club, how would you convert this into smart actions? If you convert this into smart actions, you will start by asking questions. And a good coach asks more questions than gives answers. So if I am the coach of your club and you are the president or execom member of your club, somebody wants to be a presenter. I don't know why you want to be a presenter, but as of now, I am presenting, so you don't need to be a presenter as of now. Thank you. Who will run the campaign? That's my first question. You said you will run a membership campaign, but who will run the campaign? The next thing is, what PR material is needed by you? Who will teach the members how to invite the guests? What material will be given to the guest as they come in? What presentation will be showed? Who will follow up with them? Who will? Are you seeing the number of questions which are being asked here? And these questions will make these smart goals into smart actions. And this process is called as chunking down. In this chunking down, this is a skill which I request all of you coaches to work on. Instead of telling them what they should do, ask questions and let them come up with the answers. As they come up with the answers, you can help them to make them more effective, to fine tune them. You don't have to tell them what to do, but if you ask them how to do and what to do, they will come up with the solutions, and those solutions will be much more acceptable by them rather than resisting because you told them to do something. I hope you are with me as of now. In the chat box, can you all please quickly type yes so that I know you are here with me? Okay, thank you. And once we have made our smart goals into smart actions, obviously you're going to get results. You might get results. You may not get 50 guests, but you may get 35 guests. You may not get converted 5 guests. You may get converted 3 guests. Now, if that happens, what should you do? Is the PowerPoint not showing for everybody or only for Dania? Those of you who can see PowerPoint, could you please confirm in the chat box that you can see it? Okay, Dania, you need to check up your device because it is showing for everybody. Anybody who cannot see it now? Okay, I'm going to share it again. Okay, some people can see it now. Okay, thank you everybody. Just keep telling me if there is any challenge. All right, so going forward. So now you have done your smart goals and you have done your smart actions. What is next? The next thing is to celebrate. We need to celebrate the milestones. We need to celebrate as we reach where we need to reach, or even if we wanted to do 10 and we have done 8, make sure you celebrate. The fundamental of Toastmasters clubs is recognition. Make sure you recognize the people who are part of those engagements. Make sure you recognize the people who were behind the scenes. Make sure you recognize them publicly. Carry some pins, carry some ribbons, make some certificates, host a dinner, have a lunch, whatever is the mode of recognition that works for you. Please make sure you do that. Also, at the same time, make sure that if it is a corporate club, the recognition should be seen by the whole corporate and not just by one person. So in the corporate clubs, there are a lot of internal communication tools, which are like the internal portals of the organization, company emails. Make sure it is recognized and seen across the corporates. Nothing works as much as recognition and celebration works. So these are a few of the processes that I suggest we should follow. I'll just summarize them in this slide. Have an agreement and establish ground rules. Agree on the desired outcome of the whole engagement. Make connection with the club. Make a status check report. Work on the goals and work on smart action plans. Two things that you should also be very careful here is responsibility and accountability as to who is responsible for doing this and how will this be reviewed. How will you know whether the action you planned has been completed or not completed? And recognize and celebrate. So these were the processes. Now, what can be some of the solutions? Because generally speaking, most of the clubs face similar kind of situations. Let's go over some of the standard solutions that have been used across the world, and they can be used very effectively in your coaching engagement also. The first thing that I always recommend, and not only for a week club, but for any club, is to have a quality club meeting. Now, quality club meetings are meetings where members are giving speeches, they are evaluated with respect and by skilled evaluators. There are table topics which are not punishing, but they are fun to deal with, they are engaging. There are reports of accounters and grammarians which do not demean the members, rather they encourage the members to do better. And there are recognition given to people who complete levels of pathways or levels of leadership. These quality club meetings have enough number of people attending them. The recent thought is that about 60% of the club members actually attend the meetings. Now, if your club only has less than 20 members, you can take 60% of that and imagine how many people will attend the meeting. Quality club meetings are more members. More members bring more energy. They bring more enthusiasm. Membership achievement for various things. What can they be recognized for? They can be recognized for bringing in guests, even if the guests sign or don't sign. They can be recognized for doing a newsletter or writing an article, or even for achieving some success in his life, which may not relate to Toastmasters, but can be a good recognition for the member to be known. Membership recognition and quality club meetings are two of the most effective solutions that work everywhere. Some more areas where we can work. Invite senior external Toastmasters. There is a lot of knowledge and skills available within the Toastmaster fraternity in each country. We are dealing with Jordan, Lebanon, Oman, and UAE. There are hundreds of Toastmasters who are DTMs. There are people who are doing very well in their careers. Call them, ask them to run, if not education sessions all the time, keynote speeches. Just speech on a subject which can be interesting to many people. Run mock contests. These are not real contests, but mock contests. Even if 3 or 4 people participate in a humorous speech contest or a table topic contest, it creates a lot of energy in the club. Publicize everything. VP memberships generally should do it, but if they are not doing it, you can always ask anybody in the club who's good on Facebook, who's good on Instagrams, on emails, or creating flyers. recognize people achievements, recognize the club meetings and themes. And as I said in the beginning of my presentation, Moments of Truth is a very good tool that you should run very early in the club coaching engagement. Run membership campaigns both for new and retention. Enhance the guest treatment at the club meetings. Now, this is one of those areas which I find in many clubs is done extremely well, and in many clubs it is ignored. When I come as a guest to the meeting for the first time, I don't know where I've come. I'm like a very zombie, it's like in a wonderland. Toastmasters is not a very normal meeting. There are people who are wearing funny badges, they talk different language. Make the guest comfortable. Welcome him. Offer him a cup of tea, coffee if your club does that. Ideally, ensure that the member who invited the guest sits next to the guest and keeps explaining everything what's happening in the club. And as the meeting ends, maybe you can ask the guest for a small feedback from what their side, offer them a membership form, give them a copy of the Toastmasters magazine, and invite them back. Distinguished club programs and club success plans. All the coaches should be aware of these and they're downloadable from the TMI website. Club Leadership Handbook is the standard tool that every club officer should go through and they should understand what is their role and how they can do it better. What is the calendar of events? What are the club officers' training requirements? What are the membership requirements? What are the administrative requirements? These are a few of the solutions which have been used across the world by various coaches, and you can use them in your clubs as well. I'll go over two slides which are slightly technical in nature, but if you are going to be the club coach, it will help you to understand them. When we start the learning cycle for anybody, these are the four boxes we go through. The first box on the top left is called as the unconscious incompetence. This is where we are when we start our learning process. You are unaware of the skills and your lack of proficiency. Some of you club coaches right now would be in this box here. You could also be in the second box, which is below the left box. It says conscious incompetence. You are aware of the skill, but you are still not proficient. Your club officers and members could be in any of these two boxes. Your job is to move them towards the right side, that they are able to use the skill initially with some effort, becoming conscious of their competence, and then eventually doing it so much that they become competent without even knowing it. It's like when you drive the car now, you are unconscious competence. But when you first sat on the driving wheel, you were unconscious incompetence. So this is how the learning cycle works, and I'm just showing it to you for reference purposes. There is a lot of material on this available on the internet. Please go there and learn it. And the last thing that I want to tell you is the Kaizen formula of continuous improvement. In short, this is called as PDCA, plan, do, check, and act. You start from the plan. So as a coach, you start asking this question: what is the goal? What is now preventing us to achieving this goal? You make up your action plans and you go to the next step, which is the do. What is the one step you can take towards the goal right now? You take that step and you get some results out of it. And then you check, did it work? Everything does not work. Some might work, some might not work. If it is so great, do it again. If it is not working, do something else. And then if something starts to work for you, then go to the last box, which is the act. Standardize it and stabilize what worked for you. And go through the process of PDCA over and over again. If you do it for long enough, I promise you, the club that you are coaching will be a very, very successful club. I'm sure you are aware that the district has a special award for excellence for all the club coaches who are registered and who will help the club with 12 or less members to reach 20 plus members by 15th of April 2020. So this was my presentation as of now. I have a couple of slides to share, but before I do that, I am opening the session for question answers now. We will try to take them in the next 10 minutes. So first, I suggest that please don't everybody unmute at the same time. Let's take the first question. Please type your question in the chat box, and if it is possible, I will answer that now. So you can start your questions now. You can either speak the questions to me using your mic, or you can type them in the chat box. Both are okay. Okay, Dania has asked a question. Do you think we can participate as members in the club while coaching? I mean to establish rapport. Dania, yes, you can do that. Once you are a club coach, you can become a member of that club also. Any other question? Will you be sharing the presentation? Yes, Ravindra, I will be sharing this presentation. You will have to send me a message asking to share, giving your email address so that I can send it to you. You will have to send me the request on the email to me, not here in the chat box. Manoj Ranade, you said, how is the role of the club coach and the club mentor different? You did touch on this initially, but if you could elaborate a little more. Manoj, the club coach and club mentors are overlapping roles, if I might say that, and they are not very, very different from each other. The reason being that they both are serving the same client, same member or the same club, I would say. However, the final distinction here is that the coaching is short-term assignment and mentoring is a long-term assignment. Coaching is more towards building the skills and competencies, and mentoring is more towards developing the person as a whole. And that's the more bigger difference. In fact, if we go a little deeper, there are more things from them. There is coaching, mentoring, training, and they're all different from each other in the domains of their work. So we are right now in the short-term coaching to build skills and competencies of the club so that they can handle it themselves. I hope that answers your question, Manoj. Okay, the next question I'm seeing is club coach must be a member. No, he does not have to be a member, but at least he should not be a member on the day that he becomes a club coach. But after he becomes a club coach, he can become a member of the club. Okay, thanks, Manoj. Okay, Haitham, you want to say something? I can hear you speaking.
No, Garbender, everything is okay. Me and Fed are listening.
All right, great. Thank you so much for being there. So you can mute your mic now. Mohammed Ashfaq is asking, it means once the club has 20 members, the job of the club is completed, job of the coach is completed, you mean to say. Well, the job of the coach is completed definitely when the club is stable and the club has achieved the DCB points, and he can then get awarded from the TI for the work that he has done. Okay, so we are moving towards the last 5-7 minutes of the presentation. So let me just go over a couple of last slides for you, which will be helpful for you to run. And if we have time at the end, we can also again go back to some quick questions. As I said earlier, that this is now all the skills that I could share with you as of this point. I shared with you the coach's qualities, the difference between a coach and a mentor. I shared with you the perspective of the club coach, that you can have various solutions. I also shared with you the whole coaching process from agreement to celebration. Now, what can happen beyond that is that now, as you will start to do your work, there will be something that you should be doing immediately. The next action that I would suggest you should do is visit the club, observe and make the notes on the current status. This is something which some people do not like to write down or make notes. Let me give you my input is that the coaches make notes. If you don't like the pen and paper, make it on your phone or your device, wherever you like it. Unless you make the notes on what's happening, like you are like a doctor writes down the diagnosis, it is likely that a few things might get out of our mind by the time we reach the action stage. The action plans you should work on is smart action plans. Once you have done that with the club, make sure you discuss with the area director for alignment of solutions. Like if the club wants to do some kind of education programs or some kind of open house events, area directors will be able to help you to align these solutions with the district. Conduct the PDCA, which I showed you in the last slide, the plan, do, check, and act. Make sure that we achieve what we wanted to achieve, and even if we wanted to achieve 5 and we've done 4, celebrate it, recognize the win. From the district team side, we will be doing review sessions country by country, hopefully in person, but if not in person, on the similar platform of GoToMeeting. The dates will be announced shortly. These will be January, March, and May. Please join these review sessions and share with us your success or your challenges. And if we can suggest you something that you can do, we will do that. Going forward from now onwards, this club coach training will be done regularly. At least it will be done once in 2 months. The next club coaching will be a little more technical in terms we can look at doing some moments of truth training or other area trainings. The club growth director team will continue to do many more training programs, and then that could be something which you might want to look at as a club coach to attend. Please, we will keep sending you the information on the club coach WhatsApp groups. Also, we will try to send them across on the emails to you. And if you are welcome to join any training program that is being done in membership building or in any areas otherwise. This was my last slide, and I will now say all the best to you for an outstanding coaching engagement. And thank you once again for taking up this assignment, because you have all shown interest in helping a club in need. And this is really a big, what should I say, big task. It takes courage, it takes persistence, and it takes commitment. I wish you all the best, that you should be able to achieve what you have started. And feel free to contact me. My email address and the phone number is now on your screen. I prefer to be contacted by emails, but it's okay. You can contact by the WhatsApp also, and we will be able to see what we can do to help you. There is a question from Ravin Shankara which says, is there a specific requirement for becoming the club coach in terms of education awards, how many years he should know? So there are no such requirements. You should be a member, and you should be a member in good standing. And the club Exicom should approve you becoming their club coach. Bridge Bachchan says, thank you. Okay, thanks, Bridge. Manoj, my official email ID is right now on the screen, sir. This is Manoj, toastmasterpon@gmail.com. That's my official ID. And please feel free to contact me. Thank you very much, everybody. If you want to type in any last goodbye messages, this is the time. You can put them in the chat. And if anybody wants to speak to me, you can unmute and also speak to me. I will now stop the recording of this session. Thank you very much.